Welcome to Compass Backstage. We're hanging out with Mia today live. Mia Nicolai is joining us, and I'm so excited to chat with you. This is where we talk about artistry and authenticity and process, and it's a really wonderful opportunity to just dive into the fun aspects of being an artist and the industry and the challenging ones too. But I think that getting real with people and I'm allergic to small talk, so this is heaven for me.
Same for me. We
Right?
are very similar in that realm.
Ah, welcome to Mia and Compass Backstage today. I'm so glad to have you here. And I've got a bunch of questions to ask you, and we're just going to go off the rails too, because you know. So I'm going to just introduce you a little bit with that. We've known each other for a number of years now, which is beautiful. Met because of social media, just through social media. We've co-written together. I've connected you with other people together. I've coached you a little on vocals, and now you're in my Compass program, and it's been really a pleasure to just watch your journey. And I love to champion and I love to root for people, and it's really awesome to not only root for you but to also be, in my way, a small part of your team, helping you and supporting you in your creative journey. And it's really an honor to do that. I know that early roots are drama and ballet and piano and violin lessons, um, moving from acting into music. And let me kick it off with a question.
Great.
If you look at yourself, if you look back at your creative self before things really started, like what felt stuck or unclear or off? Was there a sense of like wanting or waiting for your true voice to emerge?
Right. Well, actually this is very in line with what I'm currently realizing about my inner critic.
Mm.
And that is that it is because of my inner critic that I got good at singing
Ooh.
and I was able to open my voice. And it was because, so as a kid, I loved singing, but I got bullied quite heavily around like age 9, 10. And one of the things I got bullied for was that I supposedly couldn't sing. And, but I had a real desire to be a performer. And then my mother was a singer as well. And I think I really also wanted to have my own identity and I didn't want to be like my mom. So I, like, as a teenager, was singing, but also was like, no, I want to do something else. I want to be good at something else. And that's how I got more into acting, which led to me doing theater school back in the Netherlands, which is where I'm from. And I think doing acting made me realize how much I prefer being myself than being other roles. And
Mhm.
so I actually struggled more with that than I thought I would. And then my favorite classes were music. And then I had a music teacher in acting school, and we had to do one like exercise was to write a song and then show it to the class. And my song definitely stood out. And so he went to me and said, like, if you ever want to do something with music, I think you have something there. And this is like when I was 20. And then I took a gap year from theater school, which led to me being just kind of like lost. And through that being lost, I just found myself improvising a lot and like putting on YouTube type beats and just like singing. And it was like a really like profound way of me feeling more like maybe in control, even because I could decide what I would write about and I could decide the melodies that I would use. And so I think that around 21 is when I really decided that I was going to do music. But then that's a whole journey to start.
Totally.
So, and then there was an A&R that knew me and I knew them as an actress. And he invited me to come to the studio around that age and told me after the session that I should just be a manager and that I couldn't write nor sing.
Wow.
And that really affected me. And
Of course. I was gonna
the
say you
thing,
had like you're going from like I got bullied to I had like one person, just one person give you encouragement and that opened up a journey and a pathway for you, and then one person just like shut that down. And it's funny. I know that I'm gonna say it's so unfortunate because it really is. It's unfortunate to have anyone attempt to shut you down as if they know. right? And all we need is a little encouragement. That's all like anybody
Right.
ever needs is a little encouragement to like, yeah, fly, go where you want to go dream big, go after that dream.
Yeah, and also not like shutting it down so like black and white.
Yeah,
And
I have had people ask me like, please, can you just tell me if I have what it takes?
right,
And my answer is always the same. Please don't give me or anybody else the power to tell you that.
totally.
Because I don't
Yeah.
have that power. Do I see it in artists? Absolutely. I can see it early and I'm like, they're like 6 years away. Like I can see it, right? But also that person that doesn't seem to have it,
They can surprise you.
that's right. And they just need, they might be the whatever they haven't had like a certain moment that turns them on their head and like brings it out and it might not even be the it that they need. Like there's so many careers in this business that they could have and I can't tell them no. Like terrible. Just don't give me, don't, and I do, even when there's a person who I think like has a long way to go, I will be kind and honest in telling them that there's a lot for them still to develop and it's doable.
Yeah, and that's the
It's
thing, like
doable.
in a way, I mean, that A&R was right in that moment in time, and he ended up saying, like, if you work really hard, maybe 5 years from now you'll be able to do something special, which is quite literally what happened.
Yeah.
But
and very different than give up. Go be
yeah,
an
but
That's
that was
so
like
different.
maybe the thing for me too, is that maybe because I was bullied, it became my fuel, in the sense that I was just so angry with him for saying that to me that I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong so badly, which I don't think is a good route to go. And I'm really like real like I because I also lost my identity from that, because I then started to try and make the kind of music that I thought he would like, so that I could prove him wrong. And that was like a good year of my life of me trying to do it for him and not for myself.
And I think a lot of people become successful with that same energy or that same drive. And let's call it publicly successful, financially successful,
Right.
known successful. But I don't think that emotionally that route really serves anybody well at all. It's very detrimental.
It wasn't making me happy.
Yeah, exactly.
It definitely wasn't. And it burned me out after a year, for sure.
Yeah. I don't think it's not a good motivator. It will motivate people, but it's not a positive motivator. And thankfully for you, you were able, this is something I admire about you a lot, is your self-reflection is really strong. Like your inner work, your ability to be emotionally intelligent and to grow and adjust is really admirable. Yeah, it really is. I admire it a lot.
I'm happy about that too. And I think that one of the things is that I've been a sober person for like 10 years, 10 plus years now. And so it's just like, what are you going to do when you don't distract yourself with alcohol? You're going to think about things and you're going to reflect on things. And if you can't run from it, then you kind of have to sit with it.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is something that I really vouch for.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I think that it makes for a happier life for sure, right? Being able to
100.
be responsible.
It definitely takes a minute. Like it's not an instant thing. Like at first, it felt super isolating to not drink and to still, because I am
I wasn't sorry. I wasn't speaking of drinking. I was speaking of being reflective. But yes.
But even that also, like, I overdid the reflection at first, where I would just go the opposite way, where I was like, okay, everything about me sucks. I need to like change everything that I am. I am horrible and I am the problem and I am the worst this and I'm bad, that was like the first step of self-reflection, instead of like taking it, step by step.
I think also, creative artists, we're the star of our movie. And so I think often, especially the lead singer, is like, oh, it's on me. Like it's something wrong with what I did. And I remember a time I was recording. I was young, and I was recording demos of some songs I'd written, and I'd sing them like this. And then when I put the headphones on and I went to sing them, I was out of tune. Like something was really off, and they were yelling at me, like, "What's wrong with you?" I'm a singer who generally is never out of tune. So I'm like, I don't know. I sing it fine. And then I go to put, and the person that was really trying to intimidate me and bully me, the producer, we ended up leaving that session at one point. And I was like, I took the stems to another studio and we opened them all up and we were listening to everything. All the guitars were out of tune. the producer who was trying to intimidate me and telling me that I was horrible, what a shitty artist I am, right? He was so out of his head, he recorded everything out of tune. And
It's
that's
wild. It's kind of wild that you're bringing this specific concept up, because that is kind of what happened in some ways when I did Eurovision. There was a moment that me and my duet partner, we were doing a pre-party that is like, organized by Eurovision fans. So safe to say it's not like the most professional organization, but it's very sweet and it's really well put together and like really like thoughtful, in that sense. But what we didn't know were two things. One, there was on the filter of the piano in the instrumental, it kind of morphed the key to be hard to hear.
Oh.
And so my duet partner starts singing, and I don't even hear this, but apparently he's singing somewhat out of key. And then we're also new to in-ears. We're new to a big audience, everything, right? So you know how nerves go on our throats, like all the things.
Yeah.
I hear him sing, and I join in with his key,
Okay.
and I don't hear that we're off because you can't hear it in our in-ears. Total clash.
You hear that you're together. You guys are both together.
We were out of key together.
Yeah, but you were together, so it sounded right.
Exactly. But then that was like live streamed, and the whole country of the Netherlands got a hold in that video, and we got bullied like crazy by our own country. That is what then we started to realize that there was a problem, when we as a team started to figure out what the problem was. So at first it was like, okay, we need to change the backing vocal, or not backing vocal, but the background like instrumentation.
The backing track.
So I don't really remember when happened what, and then we had another show, and again the same thing happened, which was extremely embarrassing because, first of all, I know about myself, like I can't speak for him, but for me, I have the last thing I was ever worried about as a singer was my key capability, because I played violin for 15 years. And suddenly I had to worry about this. Suddenly I was like, oh my God, I can't sing in key. This is really embarrassing. And this was before we even had to do the arena show with like the whole Europe and countries world looking at us and judging us in a way.
Yeah.
So that was like such like poor pre-positioning to be in. And oh my God. And then to like, I learned so much up there about that process and period, about the mindset, how much it is important to be like centered and anchored in yourself and not be influenced by what other people might think of you. And it was really difficult. I almost quit. I didn't, luckily, but I almost did. And
I think with social media, it makes it's so much harder. Like this is, I mean, you know this from our work together. Like the cornerstone of my coaching is starting with a session about listening to your inner voice and not pleasing others and not worrying about others. Like it's a big conversation. Okay. With people filming everything and commenting on everything, and just on these lives, I've had a handful of trolls on a few days, and I'm a grown ass woman who's totally cool with being 1,000-yard queer. Like, I'm queer from 1,000 yards. Totally cool. But when trolls start hitting me up with like ignorant, hateful comments, it hurts. It's still like, and it takes you back to like that fear you had when you were young, or that that teenage insecurity. It hurts at a deep level.
Yeah.
Even though I know that there's probably ignorant people who got hurt in life themselves. And
I was gonna say it takes a hurt person to do that, because a hurt person will want to feel that kind of control, right? Like they could hurt another person.
But in your daily life, I choose not to have people like that in my life. Like, why would I? I want emotionally intelligent people. When you're on social media and when you're out in the world, that's not a choice. Hundreds of thousands of them can bombard you, and you're like, what in the world is this drama that I don't live in?
I live with people telling me that they'd rather see me kill myself than go on stage, which is like the most dark shit to ever read.
I mean, in an ideal world, I would say, wow, that person is really suffering.
Yeah. And
it has nothing to do with your thinking.
I understood that, but yet it becomes, because it's like your most insecure voice in your own head and your inner critic we'll see that as proof.
Right.
And we'll see, like, see, told you not to do this, told you not
Yeah.
to do this project, told you to stay home, told you to choose safe, and now you're here, and look at you, moron, like, this is going to be dangerous, you know?
Sorry. Yeah, you
So,
don't feel safe.
yeah, and like,
You
it
don't
was
feel
as
safe.
simple as, like, we ended up changing the key of the song. We literally went 2.5 steps up of the song, which was so much better because he felt more comfortable. I felt more comfortable.
Oh, great.
I felt more comfortable. It was definitely, like, also, like, a little bit high for me because I was already singing high and I suddenly had to go 2.5 up. It definitely, like, changed the song feeling a little bit also because it was like,
Well, also
and that,
a new key is also an emotionally different resonance.
right,
So the
right.
vibe of the song changed.
And the weirdest thing was, Wendy, is I've had this tattoo of Sharp since 2020, like this. And the new key became F sharp. It was so weird.
We love that magic.
Honestly,
The
like,
good news is you did what needed to be done, which was like, let's
yeah,
figure it out, let's adjust, let's make it better, and you made it better.
yeah.
It was just hard to do that live and in front of many people. You know, it wasn't found out in rehearsal, right?
No.
Like that's rough. That's rough.
It was really rough. And
Really rough.
looking back, connecting to who I was then, I feel so disconnected of my true self. And that was the biggest thing after that I just knew, like, I now know what it's like to be in public as someone that I don't feel I am. People are perceiving me based on what their perception is.
Mm-hmm.
I now know who I'm not. So that
Okay.
means that I can figure out who I am. And it actually freed me so much. And then I made an EP with someone in Bergen, Norway, and it was such, like, a whimsical place. I was so inspired by the Bergen artists. Like, think of, like, Aurora as an example. Like, she's just roaming around there, and she was, like, my friend there, and, like, I was so inspired by her freedom and authenticity, and, like, everyone there was just doing their own thing. So it was, like, quite healing to experience that. I now notice that I'll forever hold a little bit of that PTSD, I think, of what Eurovision stands for. But the combination of then making an EP, then meeting Ella and Tommy and starting to work with them, then starting Compass and working through all the, I guess, doubts of how to organize myself as an artist and, like, bring it out, really kind of just started to dissipate, like, step by step.
It's amazing. Can I ask you a question back with Eurovision?
Yeah.
You felt you weren't representing yourself and it wasn't truly you, and which then step by step you've gotten more and more into, like, to the art being you.
Right.
How did you get there though? Because I think this is important for other people to hear, because this is not uncommon. This is common. I think it's just also part of the journey, whether it's just the development of the artist. I think it's a natural part of the process. It's kind of inherent in the industry as we exist in it. So I don't know that I'm going to say I don't know that it's wrong. I just don't like that it happens, like, maybe as hard as it does sometimes, or it takes longer. Like, I'm not sure. I can't say that it's wrong is the part, because it is so common.
I can't say it's wrong either, but it could be wrong if I saw it as wrong. If I let myself be knocked out by that, it would have been wrong. But because I didn't let myself be knocked out by it, and I saw it as an ingredient to grow into myself, it was great. And it was a great lesson. And the simplest answer I can give is, how did I even get there to begin with, is that I wasn't making music for myself for the longest time. If I was in the studio, I would make a melody and I would look at the producer or feel the vibe out, and I would decide whether or not it was a good melody based on the reaction of the other person, which is classic people pleasing, aka this, in my opinion, the selfish disease. Because it's like, we think that we are helping other people to feel better, but we're actually trying to help feel like that we're not going to get rejected, like, oh my God, dare someone think that who I am is not good enough and I'll be, like, pushed out of the tribe. Where it's just like,
it's that safe. I just want to be safe and secure. Yeah.
And, like, it's awful to not be yourself as an artist. It's soul sucking.
Agree.
Yeah.
I think it's awful to not be yourself as a human.
Yes, agree.
Why did I come out at I think I'm trying to remember, I forget if I was 17 or 19, as my wife says, Wendy in time, because, like, I have no sense of linear time. But I came out in my teens because I couldn't not be myself. Like
Yeah.
I'm dying not being myself, right?
Yeah.
And certainly as an artist, it's painful to create and live out in the world and go, this is me. No, it's not. It's not. It's not me. It's not me. Oh my gosh. That conflict is brutal.
And it's funny because also some people don't know who themselves is because it's so like bunkered into these like judgments based on the culture that you grew up with or the construct. And like I remember in 2022 I buzzed my hair off, and I didn't do that for aesthetically pleasing thing. It was purely because I wanted to do it as like a rebirth of some sort with the transformation that I was going through like in my like therapy process. But what is funny is I remember judging women with buzz cuts before. Like I remember anything I've ever judged, I've become. Like anything I've ever been like, ill, don't do that. I've become.
Yes.
And so be wary of what you judge because you'll become it.
Well, I don't think like you've done it, you've experienced it. I think I totally agree. Like the things we're judging are parts of ourselves we don't like or we're not comfortable with. We haven't examined.
Right.
We haven't excavated.
Right.
So it's a great tell whenever you are like really like about something. Okay, wait, what's there? I gotta look at this. It's just a great indicator of something that needs to be looked at.
Because like, at least for me personally, what I judge is what my inner child wants. Because my inner child, or like when I was a kid, and everything that I did out of like my true pure wants and needs got me bullied, got me rejected, got me pushed out of the tribe. And so my inner critic like was like, hold on, push that down. Don't ever do weird things. Don't ever do anything out of the lines because you will get bullied. And so
I don't know if that's your critic or just like survival mode, right? You're surviving.
It's a bunch of everything.
My daughter writes songs all day long and just to herself is always performing. Like we could be walking down the street and she just stops and is like, oh, would you like a donut? And she's singing and she love this. I've noticed at school now, mind you, we just moved to another country and there's another language which she's already speaking, but it's a lot. It's a huge life change.
Yeah.
But I noticed that she's a little overwhelmed with a lot of people and seems to take time to warm up. And I told her the other day, I was like, honey, maybe at school, if you did a little of your performing, I bet you'd find other people who like to do that too. You just got to find people. And she's a tiny little toddler, but I know I'm just like, there's so many little people like you. You just got to meet them, and then you've got your friends. You'll find them. You will meet your friends because there's so many other little theater kids. It just takes a minute to find them.
Oh,
I know, but it's like I see it. Like you find your people. You find your people, and it just because of the internet, because of we have a bigger community to find our people. And from what you said, that it is so important is that our need to belong is essential. Like we're humans, we're a tribal species. But in order to belong, we actually truly need to be ourselves because fitting in to belong is not belonging. It's harming yourself in order to just not be rejected. But actually, if you're just truly yourself, the people who dig you will find you, and then you'll build a community where you really belong because you are validated and respected and loved for who you are.
Yeah.
Let me jump to a question. This is a beautiful conversation. Let's talk about this part. What parts of yourself feel more seen and more expressed after all of this? So you did Eurovision, and then you did the EP, and now you're working with Ella, and now we're in Compass. What parts of you do you feel are being expressed and are coming with this new EP and album?
I think the performer of myself as when I was a kid, like I was obsessed with circus and I wanted to be an acrobat, but I also wanted to be a clown. And I've always like biggest moment of getting bullied was when I went to school dressed up as a clown. So I know that I stopped something there.
Oh, I mean, you just saying it, I'm like, and I know we've looked at your artwork and some of the singles and stuff, but when you say clown and acrobat, I'm like, oh, I'm seeing this look and this album cover. I'm seeing the costume for the live show right now. Like,
and you know what the craziest thing is?
I see it.
Ella, she knows for some reason my favorite thing was Cirque du Soleil.
Oh,
and
man.
She found this like Cirque du Soleil original suit thing. When she gave that to me, I told her, I was like, I am so sorry. This is so sweet, but my heart is overwhelmed because I can't allow myself to love this yet. And I could feel it. Like I could feel fear come up. Like if I wear that, what are people gonna think? And I still am like, I'm very uncomfortable. Like every day I get uncomfortable. I'm just like, oh, and I remember like when I shot all the photos for my artwork, which I now see is like amazing. But I remember when we shot it, I was so scared because I was wearing more makeup than what I'm used to. I was wearing more outrageous clothing and I was so uncomfortable. And I remember,
but that's art. That level
yeah,
of like everything at a higher level, everything elevated, everything a little bolder. Even if you're an
right,
introvert, it's still going to be a bolder introvert. That
right,
is that is the live show. That isn't
yeah,
your everyday. That isn't this. Like I
yeah.
love what you're wearing. This has a little bit of that clown costumey thing, right? But so
This is actually
I
Lauren
love
gave
it.
this she gave this to me today as a present to celebrate that we have our first release on Friday. And then I
Yeah.
bought this collar on Sunday and I was like, wait, this is perfect. Cirque du Soleil was like my thing when I was a kid. Like I had that song Allegra was on basically every day on repeat. And I would
And you were
always
giving
ask my
me,
dad.
you're giving me so many ideas and thoughts about you and your stage. And yes, I also want to see like, I want to see a traditional like big pom poms from a clown on you. Like, come on,
Wow.
bring it.
Bring
I
it.
love it.
And it's so cool because like what I have noticed is like that when I'm now starting to do things that are scaring me, but I do them is when I feel the most free. And that counts for anything. But like I know that as a 3-year-old, I love being the center of attention because I would wear the cutest dress and I would literally be like, Mom, we're going to the boulevard. We were in Spain on holiday. We're like, we're going to the boulevard right now. I want people to see me in my dress. And I would
Ah,
literally just like walk around and wave at everyone because I knew
ah,
I was the cutest thing alive. And like, but I
I love
lost
that.
so heavily when I started to get bullied. And I remember being 9 and looking in the mirror and being like, oh, this is what they see as ugly. So that means that I am ugly. And I remember just like fully crying, looking at my face and
And
all
that
the
was a
features of my,
9-year-old's perspective of like an experience you were having wasn't at all true. I mean, I know someone who's so beautiful and growing up in Japan thought they were ugly. They thought of themselves as ugly because their culture saw them as ugly. And I'm like, there's nobody on this planet that would think you're anything but gorgeous. I don't even, I can't compute, right?
it
Um,
took me a
but
hell of a long time.
something you just said, I think the scared is literally like you know you're stepping into your power, and that's there's a responsibility to that. There is it's scary, right? You're
I
like,
my
oh my god,
heart,
I'm
I'm
literally
like,
having growing. Yeah, because you're an adult having growing pains in a way, but they're emotionally,
and you
and so
know,
it's like, oh, this is scary, but the idea for me of you stepping into your power and all your clown and all your Cirque du Soleil and all that energy, you stepping into that archetype of the jester and succeeding and having being validated and loved and embraced and applauded for it is literally healing the inner child and going, yes, see, I was this person the whole time. And it's not like they were wrong, like I'm proving them wrong. It's just like, oh yeah, they were actually wrong. You just get to learn
yeah.
that that moment
But
wasn't the
that's
truth.
exactly the growing pain part for me because it is looking back to all the years that I didn't accept her and where I bullied her and I
But
shut her down.
that is
And
also
that's
just
like,
what happens.
so I
Like,
remember around my birthday this year, I started writing the album that's coming out after the EP. And I can't say too much about it, but it is very much written out of playground, joy, all like the inner child. Like it's an album for my 9-year-old self, actually. And I remember around my birthday being I was 2 days, I was really bummed. What I was really sad about, and I remember saying that to one of my students, was like, who was 18 years old, was like, I wasted so much time to run away as far and fast as I could of my true self to fit in. And I literally thought I could get away with acting normal and meaning normal the way that I perceived the normal to be,
totally. I
you
love that.
know? And so
I mean, you heard me like burst out with laughter because I'm like, of course you thought you could do that. No way you could. Because my definition of normal is suppressed weird. And I'm like, please be weird. Weird is
yeah.
literally
But
supernatural.
also,
Weird, wonderful. Weird is where the beauty is.
yeah, but like Wendy, I grew up in a culture that literally says, "Oh, don't act crazy. Like normal is already crazy enough." And so you grow up in a culture that's like literally trying to cut off anyone and anything that like stands out. And then you got me, half Russian, half Dutch. My mom was very extra in her clothing. Now I wear all her clothes, and every time I wear her clothes, people are like, "Oh my god, where'd you get that? That's the coolest thing ever." And I'm like, "Yeah, my mom got that in the night." But like growing up in that household, I was just like by default ashamed by default because I didn't fit in the norm, which I'm super grateful for, because now I have the funniest, coolest pictures of myself as a kid. I'm super proud that I was such a weirdo and
I
cute.
love that. I love that. It's for me, like, I lived in New York for so many years, and I am at heart a New Yorker. And like, I remember the last time I was there, and I just, landed at JFK, and I get off the plane, and I'm just like, yes, thank you. Oh, thank you. Yes. And that's what I love about New York, is that everybody is just truly showing up, being their weird, wonderful self, just organically, not in a I'm doing this to get looked at. It's like, no, this is just me. And I just felt immediately grateful in New York all the time. It was just like, oh, thank you for being weird. Thank you for being yourself. Oh, thank you for being so unique and cool. Thank you. I have gratitude for existing in New York.
I get that. I went to New York when I was 18. That's when the name Mia came to exist. Because before that, I was just known as Michaia, which is like my birth name, but no one could pronounce it. So I was like, ugh, I'm sick of that. And so I came up with Mia. I remember I went to New York like 3 summers in a row, but it was definitely a part of my development of how to develop out of that Dutch norm into my authentic self. It took me 10 years to get to where I am today, and it's only going to take me more moving forward, but
But that's normal. And average is 7 to 10 years for an artist to really find their voice. I think it's a little longer right now because of social media and because of like the way our world is set up. I think it takes a little bit longer. You just don't have as much support to actually allow you to develop. When you said you went away to make an EP, I'm so happy you did. It's not what the most people get to do anymore. It's like, I got to go away and create this project.
But that's
every month.
That's a part of the serendipitous like things, and for some reason, even through being bullied, or when I got told I shouldn't be a singer, be a manager instead, when I got bullied by the Dutch like people that were haters and blah, 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 like for some reason I've always known deep in my stomach, I am made for this. I am made to be on that platform, and I will continue following that. And so, because I had this inherent belief, even when I doubted often, but like the core in the root, there's this super strong feeling of, but I'm meant to do this. I am meant to be on that platform and have fun, find that freedom for myself so I can inspire others to find it for themselves, And so I think because of that, because I went to Norway purely for a songwriting camp, and I met this guy, Vetle Juncker, who I made the EP with, and we just musically clicked. I was like, what's going on? Like, we wrote this one song that I was just like, I could feel like, zoom, that's me. And then from there, we just wrote a couple of more songs, and just organically, I remember we went for dinner, and I think I was supposed to take a flight, and I didn't, because I was having more fun being at dinner and talking about my music and stuff. I just like missed my flight. That was the night that we decided to make an EP together. You
said a couple things of like this consistency of like core in your inner child. A number of times you said today about being bullied, and I feel like that, if you haven't written about that, that's something to write about. That is like a cause or a message for you to champion for others, for sure. What are you most excited to lean into next, creatively or personally, whether it's your upcoming EP, the album?
Excited to lean into the album world after the EP. Very excited about that. Like right now, everything that I've been doing with Compass has been to help me with the EP, but I'm excited to do the exact same things for the album and really lean into like understanding the world that it's gonna live in, and exactly like, oh, is it gonna be like with pom-poms on the chest, or like what is that gonna look like?
I can't say too much, I know, but it's beautiful. It's been really fun working with you on your vision and in understanding yourself and seeing yourself, and
all the little people and moments, like you emailing me at that time in 2021 saying, hey, I came across you, I'd love to connect. And then I Google you and I'm like, holy shit, like this person worked with people that I admire and she sees something in me. And so all those little things and moments, they add up to, finding the freedom to just like go and do it.
I mean, I'm really moved. I'm very touched. To have a positive impact in someone's life is the meaning of life to me. So to know that, it's really beautiful to hear that it had that impact.
And then also funny because then you and I ran into each other at a cafe and you were sitting with Lily. I introduced Lily to Vetla and she now manages Vetla.
Oh, wow. Okay, last question. If you could speak to your younger self, what advice or encouragement would you share?
Okay, I would go to my 9-year-old self and I would say what you said to your daughter. Do exactly what you are and don't deny yourself to fit in. And I got you.
I got you. Yes. And yes, you do. Oh, that's beautiful. This is just a lovely, meaningful, wonderful conversation. I really appreciate you sharing with me and with others. I do imagine this was incredibly inspiring. For everybody who has been joining us and watching, thank you, thank you. We'll share snippets of this on socials later. Well, first of all, Backstage happens. We'll announce the next guest in a minute. So look on socials. If you don't already, please follow me on YouTube and Instagram and on the mailing list, because that's when you'll find out about who's coming up on our guests. And save the date for October 9th in Los Angeles, where we will all be at Compass Unplugged with live performances and connection and this type of conversation happening in person with artists and industry. So Mia, thank you so much. My second guest on Compass Backstage, and I really appreciate you doing this with me. This is just a beautiful and meaningful conversation. And be sure to follow Mia and check out for the single coming out in just a couple days.